And now we're joined by the WBC 130-pound world champion, Oscar Valdez. And Oscar, thank you for joining us. Now 5 days away, fight week for a career-defining fight, 2 fights removed from Miguel Burchelt. How excited are you to be part of a massive Las Vegas main event?
Excited for this new opportunity. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank my team. I want this fight possible because this is a fight that people have been wanting for a long time. You know, Stevenson has been mentioning my name for quite some time already, since I was a featherweight, and it got to under my skin after hearing so many times that we were scared of him, that we were ducking him. That was never the case. You know, we were just always looking for bigger and better fights. Now, where Shakur's a two-division world champion, he's the current WBO world champion, I'm the WBC world champion. It makes perfect sense to define who's the best fighter at 130 pounds. So I'm very excited for this. I've been taking this fight very seriously. Training camp has been going so well. Training beside with Eddie Reynoso, we've done a tremendous camp, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to step in the ring and show my skills. You know, we're a fighter that likes to go in there and brawl. A lot of people think that I could also box. And going up against a fighter like Shakur Stevenson, who we know that isn't going to risk it, isn't going to try to bang in there and try to stay toe to toe. He's going to try to use his boxing skills. So that's something that we're going to have to do as well. You know, we're going to be the smarter fighter. Instead of being a war, it's going to be more of a chess game, and we're going to be ready for whatever. So I'm truly excited for this.
Thank you very much, Ed. Oscar, so last year you had what I consider to be the absolute best win of your career. It came a week before Canelo fought in Miami, I believe. Now here you are in probably the biggest fight of your career, a week ahead of Canelo fighting. Is there a different kind of energy when you and Canelo are in the gym at the same time training for a fight as opposed to Canelo just being around?
Energy inside the gym, because in the gym we got, obviously kind of loud about it, but we got other talents in there that we all sometimes stop the sparring sessions. He'll step in the ring and try to tell me and teach me certain things because he has more experience than us. He has fought the best in his prime, and obviously he has more experience. And there's a couple of things that he knows that could benefit me in the fight. So it's definitely helped me a lot training beside Canelo and besides the hand of Eddie Reynoso. And we just all feed of each other. You know, the dream is to become one of the best in history, and we just all feed off each other.
Very cool. And then, so last year, obviously, when you fought Miguel Burchelt, it was a sensational performance. The only fans there, though, were the undercard fighters who were kind of, cheering both of you on. What kind of energy are you feeling? Are you expecting this weekend?
The time I fought with Miguel Burchelt, I'm feeling very excited because it's a tough fight. Every time there's a higher competition, I rise and get with the competition. So we know Shakur Stevenson is a good fighter. We know he's a good boxer. So that's gonna make us bring the best out of myself. So I'm very focused. I know that the Miguel Burchelt fight was one of my best, and then after that year, it wasn't my best performance at the end of my career. But that's just transformed me into the fighter that I am right now. I'm going in there very focused, very concentrated, physically and mentally prepared for this new opposition.
All right, thank you, Jake. And now we go to Dan Raphael. Dan, please go ahead when ready. You're on, Dan.
Hey there. Yep, thanks a lot, Evan. Hey, Oscar. Oscar, you hear me all right, buddy? Is Oscar there, Evan?
Hey, Oscar, are you there?
You guys can't hear me?
Oh, there we
go. Your wireless headphones are cutting out a little bit while you're speaking, so maybe shut. Yeah, so shut the wireless headphones off and then just be able to be.
Okay, I just took them off. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Much better, Oscar. Dan, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Oscar, good to talk to you today. Appreciate the time. I wondered from you, you are the betting underdog in the fight. I know that probably doesn't mean much to you. I've never heard a boxer that really thought it did mean much to them. But I wonder if you feel like that's the reason for that is because you had the performance you had against Conte in the last fight. Was an uneven performance. Some people thought that maybe Robson Conte should have won the fight. There was obviously you were distracted with all the business that was going on with the drug test beforehand. Do you feel like that people are wrongly underestimating you because that was maybe not your best performance as opposed to the previous fight when you took part Burchelt?
100%. I think people judge over your last fight, and I've heard this before in boxing. You're only as good as your last fight to the eyes of the fans. So we know that my last performance wasn't my best performance. On the contrary, I would say one of my worst performances that I've done through all that was going down in that situation. And in the case of Shakur Stevenson, his last performance was his best performance against Jermaine Herring. Was a good fight. He did very well. So I think that's what influences the bets, but that doesn't bother me at all. On the contrary, it just brings and adds more motivation to training camp. And being honest, it was one of the best training camps that I had because I've always prepare myself physically for all the fights. I'm always giving it 100%. But for this fight, I was physically and mentally preparing myself for this fight. So I'm very focused and I'm very excited to step in the ring this April 30th.
How do you deal with, or maybe you don't even think about it? On the one hand, you beat Burchelt. People called it the knockout of the year. You won the title at 130. It was lauded as just this phenomenal performance. You just totally took apart a guy that was extremely highly regarded, and you're on top of the world in terms of the eyes of many media and fans, etc. And then your next fight, it's almost, you won, but it's like the opposite against Conte. People are saying, Oscar Valdez is nothing. He should have lost. He's this, he's that, the drug situation. And then, so it's the emotional roller coaster of the highs and the lows. How do you navigate that? And now here you'll go into this fight.
Well, I personally think that 2021 was a great learning experience for me because it started off high and then it eventually turned out to one of my lowest I've ever been in my career. With all that being accused of the supplements that you call the cheater and then the bad performance that I did against Conte. It was up very high in early 2021 and at the end it fell like I was at the bottom, with all this criticism. But that only made me learn a lot of things, It made me realize that who really is beside me. It really made me realize that what the real importance of my career is. I shouldn't listen to other people and other analysis, just to be focused on the main thing, which is just win the fight and do my best. And that's what's made me the fighter that I am right now. Right now, I'm very focused. There's nothing out there that can bother me right now because I'm 100% focused for this fight. It's a fight of my career. It's a fight of my life. And I'm taking it very seriously. So 2021, I would say, was a great learning experience for me.
Thank you very much, Dan. Now we go to Hector Islas. Hector, please unmute yourself. Hector?
Hola Oscar, hola Iván. Oscar, una pregunta. Esta pelea que tú tienes con Shakur Stevenson quizá sea la más difícil de tu carrera porque es un boxeador 6 años más joven que tú. ¿Cómo miras tú la pelea y cómo ganarle a este boxeador invicto que también va a querer llevarse tu campeonato mundial?
This will probably be one of the toughest fights of your career, given that Shakur is 6 years younger than you, and also he wants to take away your titles. How do you see the fight going?
Sí, fíjate que yo estoy consciente que es de las peleas más difíciles de mi carrera hasta ahorita. Entiendo que Shakur Stevenson es un peleador complicado, es un peleador zurdo, alto y que se mueve muy bien por el cuadrilátero, usa muy bien sus piernas. Entonces, es un peleador complicado donde no le gusta arriesgar, que eso hace las peleas complicadas, pero no imposible. Por eso hemos trabajado muy duro al lado de Eddie Reynoso en el gimnasio aquí con Canelo. La verdad que hemos hecho un gran trabajo y me muy bien preparado para ganarle. Para todas las peleas me entreno físicamente al 100%, pero para este campamento me preparé físicamente y mentalmente al 100% para ganarle a Shakur Stevenson.
I'm aware this is a very complicated fight. Shakur is a tall, southpaw fighter that doesn't like to engage. He's a more defensive fighter, but it is not impossible to hit him. So I have prepared very well for that, and I have a good game plan with Eddie Reynoso.
Thank you very much, Hector. A lot of questions on the line, so I'm trying to keep it to about one question per person going forward. So thank everybody for understanding. As I mentioned, a lot of questions here in the chat queue. Ismail Abdul Salam. Ismail, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Oscar, you've mentioned, we know how well you performed when you were the underdog against Burchelt. You mentioned you learned a lot over the last year. Have you learned that maybe you perform better and that your training is better when you have that underdog mentality, when people are underestimating you?
Yes, 100%. 100%. That's something that definitely helps me. Being the underdog is just a motivation. I live in my own world. I live my own movie. Sometimes being the underdog just brings more motivation to me. And having the odds be against you is just something that just brings out the best out of me, especially going against the competition. We know Shakur Stevenson is a great fighter. He's softball, tall, very defensive. And I definitely think Shakur's going to make me bring the best out of me because I always ride with the competition. So definitely, I learned a lot over the course of the years, and I think that's going to help me win this fight.
Thank you very much, Ismail. A bunch of questions in the queue, as I said. Renato Bermudez. Renato, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Oscar, ¿cómo estás? Creo que te le hacían la pregunta en inglés y ahora en español. Pues, ¿tú crees que tiene las habilidades para boxear a Shakur Stevenson, de irte a la distancia y ganarle por puntos, o sientes que quizás hay que noquearlo?
Do you feel like you have the skills to outbox Shakur Stevenson, or do you feel the need to have to knock him out?
Sí, fíjate, creo que hemos trabajado muy duro para esta pelea. Creo que tenemos todas las facultades para ganarle de ambas maneras. Yo tengo una buena trayectoria amateur, 2 veces Juegos Olímpicos, que me ha ayudado a enfrentarme a varios zurdos y varios peleadores altos, como en este caso Shakur Stevenson. He tenido buenos sparrings que me han ayudado, entonces estamos preparados para todo, estamos preparados para ir a 2 asaltos, ganándole de una manera de presión o ganándole boxeando, o estamos disponibles para, si se presenta la oportunidad, si lastimamos al rival, pues tratar de acabarlo lo más pronto posible, pero realmente nos preparamos para todos los obstáculos que llegue a traer este Shakur Stevenson.
Gardy? Sorry, Gardy. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm ready for whatever presents itself during the fight. I'm ready to go 12 rounds. I'm ready to pressure him and I'll box him, but I'm also ready to knock him out if the opportunity presents itself.
Thanks.
Sí, buenas tardes. ¿Me escuchan?
Sí.
Okay, I'm going to ask my question in Spanish, Mr. Valdez. Saludos, Valdez. Shakur Stevenson ha comenzado a explorar su lado puertorriqueño y ha señalado que esta pelea podría verse como un capítulo más entre esa rivalidad histórica entre Puerto Rico y México. ¿Qué le parecen a ustedes esas expresiones de Shakur?
Shakur has mentioned that he's exploring his Puerto Rican roots, and that for this fight, it's going to be something similar to Mexico against Puerto Rico fight. What do you think about that?
Y fíjate que yo a Shakur Stevenson, sinceramente, lo veo como un peleador norteamericano, un peleador que representó su país en Juegos Olímpicos como Estados Unidos, así que no lo visualizo como un boricua, un puertorriqueño. Y creo que tienen diferentes estilos, y normalmente cuando se enfrenta un boxeador boricua, un peleador puertorriqueño, es de más choque, de más guerra, una pelea donde el público le gusta ver, a la gente le gustaba ver a Tito Trinidad, porque el Tito Trinidad se sentaba en el cuadrilátero y le gustaba pelear. A la gente le gustaba ver a Miguel Cotto porque se paraba en el cuadrilátero y daba buenas peleas. Y todos estos peleadores que vienen, que son boricuas, se identifican de esa manera peleando, ¿no? Una pelea que da un buen espectáculo al público. En el caso de Shakur Stevenson tiene un estilo más norteamericano, más boxeador, donde le gusta desplazarse. Y realmente así lo visualizo, pero la verdad es que espero lo mejor de Shakur Stevenson porque yo vengo bien preparado y simplemente vengo a dejar todo arriba del ring.
I don't consider Shakur to be a Puerto Rican fighter. I consider him to be a North American fighter. He represented the USA in the Olympics. And, Puerto Rican fighters like Tito Trinidad, like Miguel Cotto, they are fighters that come to fight. Like, they want to give a big fight to the fans. Shakur doesn't have, that kind of style. He's more a defensive kind of style. But surely I expect the best Shakur. I have trained very well, and I'm ready for a great fight.
My question is for Oscar Valdez. Oscar, muchas gracias. Cuando hablábamos nosotros, mencionabas que esta pelea ante Shakur Stevenson era la oportunidad de redención de tu carrera. ¿Todavía lo consideras así? ¿Y qué vas a hacer en caso de que Shakur Stevenson salga a boxear y no permita una pelea fluida, que se vea como un poco parada o cortada?
When we spoke about this fight happening, you mentioned that this could be your redemption fight, and also what are you going to do if Shakur comes out like in a more boxing style and not so much a fight toe to toe?
Sí, qué onda, Kika. Fíjate que sí, sigo con esa mentalidad. Creo que lo he dicho en varias ocasiones, que la última pelea no fue de mejores espectáculos, sino al contrario, de los peores. Y la verdad que siento que es mi oportunidad para tratar de retomar todo lo que he logrado durante toda mi carrera. Porque la verdad que le he dedicado muchos años de esfuerzo, de sacrificio y ganas a llegar a tener el nombre que tengo yo ahorita. Y yo sé que si le gano a Shakur Stevenson, pues me pondría un poquito más cercano a la lista que yo quiero estar en la lista mejor libra por libra y posiblemente en un futuro llegar a estar en la lista de los mejores boxeadores mexicanos de la historia. Entonces, eso es lo primero que yo tengo en mente, y lo otro es, si sale a boxear, si sale a hacer la pelea complicada, pues nosotros tenemos que hallar la manera, tenemos plan A y plan B para pelear contra Shakur Stevenson. Si él quiere hacer la pelea complicada, vamos a tener que romper esa barrera, cortarle las esquinas, trabajar las zonas blancas posiblemente y poco a poco irlo deteriorando para que caiga para los últimos rounds.
Like I mentioned before, my last fight was not my best performance, so I see this fight like the redemption fight, where I can show everything that I have, all the sacrifice, all the years that I have put in the sport of boxing, and it will put me closer to the list where I want to be. I want to be in the top 10 pound for pound list, and also in the future I want to be remembered as one of the best fighters in Mexican boxing history. As for the fight, we have to be prepared for whatever he brings. So we have a plan A and plan B. If he wants to box, we will pressure him and go to the body and cut the ring, whatever we have to do to break that barrier. But we're prepared for whatever he brings.
All right, thank you very much. Got a few more questions for Oscar, and then we'll let him go. Let's see who else. Fred from the UK. Fred, please unmute yourself.
Hi Oscar, how's it going, mate?
What's up, Fred?
Obviously, you got one of the best tables in boxing, including Canelo, Alvarez, and Ruiz, and a few others. How much does having a good stable motivate you? How do you stay disciplined in the gym?
Yeah, it helps me a lot. Working besides someone like Canelo Alvarez, it's just amazing. It's just amazing because we all share the same dream, and I want to accomplish everything that he's already accomplished. I want to be one day unified, undisputed. I want to maybe go up in divisions, and that's something that I've always dreamed since I was a little kid. And you got this fighter in front of me, which is Canelo Alvarez, who's already done that. So it's obvious that he already knows the path, he already knows the ways. He's fought the best, so he has way more experience than all of us. So there's obviously a couple of things or two, one thing or two that he knows that we don't know, that we can use in the fight. So there's a lot of techniques that he steps in the ring with me. We don't necessarily spar, but he steps in the ring with me and he tries to teach me certain things that are going to help me the day of a fight. They're going to help me in tough situations that will help me get out of a tough situation, or just help me just come out victorious. So it's definitely been a great learning experience working beside him. If there's something I would pick from him, would be his mindset, the type of mindset that he has. It's just a winner's mentality. Everything he does is about winning and everything. And then that's just something that I try to pick. I try to learn from the best. There's something, you could always learn something from somebody, and I always try to learn from the best. So it's definitely helped me a lot being working beside him, especially working with Eddie Reynoso, that I feel that over the years I've been improving my technical skills.
All right, we only have a few more minutes with Oscar, so I apologize to everybody. We couldn't get to all the questions, but I'll get to as many as we possibly can. Let's see who else we have. Mike Rueda. Mike, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you. And Oscar, you mentioned you're not sure how this fight's going to turn out. Has there been maybe more work on your conditioning in the case that Shakur might be doing a lot more sticking and moving in this fight, as opposed to, as you said, trying to go toe to toe with you?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working very hard. Back home, my mother and my grandmother and my friends telling me, hey, you gotta work harder for this fight. And I always think to myself, well, that's physically impossible because for every fight, I work very hard. Every time I go step in the gym, I leave exhausted because I work very hard for every fight. Doesn't matter what fight it is. So I'll think to myself, I can't work physically harder, but what I can work on is mentally. So I've been training physically and mentally for this fight because we're ready for whatever. You know, Shakur Stevenson is not the type of fighter that's going to want to risk a lot. He's not going to stay in toe-to-toe. So he's going to be moving a lot. So I have to be physically prepared to go all 12 rounds. But more importantly, I got to be mentally prepared because he's the type of fighter that likes to get in the boxers' heads. And I can't let that happen. So I got to be physically and mentally prepared for all 12 rounds. If the knockout comes, let it come. But I'll be prepared for all 12 rounds to do and give it my best.
And I think the perfect way to end this call, I just got a message in the chat from Fernando Casal. So this will be in Spanish for Oscar first, and Gardy can translate it. Question, well, not questions, but can you ask Oscar in Spanish, what is his message to all the Mexican boxing fans that will be supporting him on Saturday night? In Spanish, and then Gardy will translate it. Or Oscar, you could do it in Spanish and then translate it yourself.
Well, primeramente, toda mi gente, quiero agradecerles a toda mi gente mexicana, a toda mi gente latinoamericana que me ha estado apoyando durante toda mi carrera. Llevo para 10 años como profesional y les agradezco a toda esa gente que ha estado conmigo en las buenas y en las bajas. Ha sido una carrera muy buena, muy importante para mí y le agradezco a toda la gente que verdaderamente ha estado conmigo. Quiero que sepan una cosa, yo nunca les voy a prometer un knockout, nunca les voy a prometer una pelea del año. Por lo que sí les voy a prometer siempre a mi raza, a mi gente, a toda mi fanaticada, es que siempre voy a dejar todo arriba del ring. Mi corazón, mi esfuerzo, mi sudor, mis ganas, siempre lo voy a dejar arriba del ring. Ahora sí, como decimos los mexicanos, vamos a morir en la raya de ese 30 de abril y haré todo lo posible para poner la bandera de México lo más alto posible y traerme esos títulos. So now in English.
If Gardy or Oscar, whoever wants to handle this part.
That was a lot, Oscar. Go ahead.
Déjamelo a mí, Gardy. I got this. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody out there. I want to thank all my Mexican fans and all my Latino fans who've been supporting me throughout this career of mine. This is going to be almost 10 years of my career that I've been professional. And I just want to thank everybody who's been supporting me in everything. In my lowest and in my highest, the fans that have been with me, I really appreciate this. One thing I want to tell you for this fight, everybody, I will never promise you guys a knockout. I will never promise you guys a fight of the year.